Welcome to another episode of Follow My Voice. Got an interesting little treat for you today. We're going to move away from the quotes and kind of do a deep dive on famous concepts that famous people have, that I've learned from, so to speak. Our first guest, or virtual guest, will be Nikola Tesla. Famous for those Tesla cars that some of you may or may not own, love, or may hate, or may not know much about. It's all good. So, what I want to talk about today is kind of a way Tesla thought. The way he thinks, or the way he thought. Unfortunately, he's long gone now. But let's talk about the way Tesla used to think, and let's see how we can adopt that to today and use it today in today's modern world. So I'm going to take a little sip of water here. Let's get this party started. So one of the most interesting things about Nikola Tesla, besides all the conspiracies and all that other good stuff, but we'll let the other channels handle that, the other YouTube channels, is he imagined that things existed. He imagined that things existed, but these things didn't actually exist. So he would make things up in his brain, and then he would take apart, let's say he made a machine. What he would do is he would create a new machine in his brain, and then start taking it apart in his mind. So what he did was he invented a new machine that never existed, and then he would take apart that new machine that he just invented himself, and then he saw what was in them, measured everything, took it apart, put it back together, and afterwards he wrote down everything that he learned, and he went ahead and built the machine in real life. It was pretty deep there. I've never really thought about that, which is kind of like, let's do some applications. Let's do 3 applications. The first one is, I kind of started thinking about this new toy I want to create a new business. And let's say it comes to me in a dream and I picture it. Now I kind of take it apart, if it's a little stuffed animal, I can be a surgeon and sew it open and see that there's cotton inside, and what is it made of, what color is it, and then I can put it back together, sew it back together. And then once I have a crystal clear understanding of, okay, that's what it looked like, that's what it like in the middle, that's how you take it apart, that's how you put it back together. Think about it from a manufacturing standpoint. And then I can go out in the real world and build this little toy, and with that I can become a multi-millionaire. And people ask me where the inspiration was from. But maybe if I wanted to be sneaky, I could say it came to me in a dream. But in reality, I thought about it, I had pictured it, and I had already held it and played with the toy and all that other good stuff in my brain. All right, I like that. What about a painting? For those creative types out there, I'll get a little shout out or raise your hand if you're one of those artistic creative types. Those of you logic people, I got your back, don't you worry. Definitely a logic, ABC, 1, 2, 3 kind of guy myself. But for those of us that are pretty creative, you ever picture like a painting or a sculpture before you actually started it and you saw what the finished product looked like? Then you could kind of work your way backwards and say, well, let's say I painted a landscape of a simple painting of a boat in the ocean. And in this painting, there was a whale. The water was coming out of whatever the heck that hole is. The water comes out of a whale. And birds are flying around. How many birds? 4 on the upper left side. Boats in the middle. Kind of boat. Kind of like a little tugboat. It's the first thing that came to my mind. And are there any waves? No, Just blue, sunny day. Yeah, no storm. And see how the more I talk about it, the more it comes to reality, the more I picture it. Now I can theoretically work backwards and actually go ahead and create it. So that's another kind of great example. Let's think of a third one. How about something that doesn't exist? Let's go back to our boy Nikola Tesla. Something that doesn't exist and that there's no concept of and never even seen it in a science fiction movie. So like the first time Star Trek was created and people created a spaceship for the first time, or that little warp thingamajig. I forgot what it's called. Never been into Star Trek, but I like Star Wars. We go back to Star Wars. Doesn't matter. Look, the point is someone imagined something where you could just magically teleport yourself from one place to another. But someone there was a first person who thought of that when no one had ever thought about teleportation, or the first person who thought about flying. Probably, I can guarantee it wasn't the Wright brothers. I mean, there's drawings of Leonardo da Vinci with flying apparatuses, apparati, something like that. But they just didn't have the technology, but he had pictured it. Or the famous quote where Walt Disney had died and they were interviewing someone and said, "Man, it's a shame Walt wasn't able to see this." And that person they interviewed said, "What are you talking about? Walt was the first one to see this. He saw it first." "Oh, okay. Yeah. Because he imagined it first. Imagined something that had never been done. Now, if you kind of imagine something like a Knott's Berry Farm, or you make up some Pokemon, or what's another animal, Angry Birds, like-esque theme park. Yeah, you can see where my inspiration came from, but is it as magical as the first theme park with animals that were in puppets, costumes? You know what I'm talking about, like those costumes people wear where they're in the 120-degree Mickey outfit and they're just sweating like oh man, shout out to all you Disneyland employees out there in the world, regardless of what city. But my point is that it's pretty impressive when you can picture something in your mind, put it back together, take it apart in excruciating detail, and then next thing you know, it actually exists and becomes real, and then you go ahead and make reality catch up to it and build it in reality. I like that. I like the way that's thinking. And the reason I chose Nikola Tesla first is one of the things I want to do now is I try to read a lot of books, and as I read books, I'm going to start highlighting quotes that I want to do many little podcast lessons on, and this was the first one. Whether I post it in order, we'll see. But this was the first one where I thought about that, and it resonated with me. And I have a feeling it might resonate with maybe 10% of the people out there. 90% might not like it. It's all good. Not everyone's going to like you. But for those that do resonate, if I could provide a tiny little bit of value, make your day a little better. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's making your day a little better. So like our friend Nikola Tesla, like our boy, remember, picture something in your mind, take it apart, picture it in excruciating detail, and then bring it to real life and reality. But imagine it first. That's why imagination is so powerful. I'd like to imagine you hitting the like and subscribe button if you found this valuable. Go ahead and bring that into reality. And thanks for listening to my voice.